for Black America, it's just another year. You knew the disrespect by your elected puppeteers, but let me show you how to persevere.
IG, we up.
Samsung, people kind of like play it, but I like Samsung.
Facebook, we up. She loves that Samsung watch. What's up, Rich? If you're wondering who we're listening to, this is Ryan Trey featuring Bryant.
Hey, it's one of the twins.
Yeah. I'm at my brother's home in the middle of home buying right now, or about looking for a home. He wants to purchase this year, if not next year. So
where's he at?
He's in Tennessee.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Tell me, I'll put him on the right people.
But Richard, if you decide to come to the DMV area, this is your man.
Oh yeah, we're national. We're national. You let us know where you need to be. We're gonna have the best people. Put the best people in your hands. Gotta take care of people across the country.
Okay.
Exactly. Look, it's your boy Jay DeCosta.
And it is your girl Katniss.
And together we are the Nitty Gritty.
Here's the other twin.
No, that's my mother. Yeah, R.I.P. Kobe. Yeah. See, I got my glasses on.
I don't have it on right
That's
now.
why. That's why I got them on, because I already knew, like, if I didn't have them on, y'all know I can't see nothing without these things. It took me a long time to realize I need some glasses, but I'm finally at the point.
Story behind why I don't have them on. It's because today I felt like I did a really good highlight, and I wanted you guys to see the highlight. So that's why.
Lord.
All right, moving on.
Look, before we get into anything, yes, we got Ryan Butler back on the show. As you see, he's representing Coalition Property Group. Good to have the bro back on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, fam. So yeah, this is good. Really excited. We're going to be talking about some home buying and purchasing today. So if you have questions, the last time he was on was back when he was at the studio down in DC. The great thing about us being in this format, TNGS Live, people can actually be interactive with us, right? And there were so many people that had questions and were wondering things last time he was on. So now you guys don't have to like ask us. You don't have to look around. We have Ryan right here. So if you have questions about home buying, property, real estate, whatever, shoot it. If he can answer it, he will. Or the great thing about it, you can definitely reach out to him via Coalition Property Group, and he'll be able to get to you there. So like, you know, this is a resource you can reach a few times. Before we get back more on Ryan, we want to go ahead and hit up current news. Obviously, it's been on the timeline all day. Richard, you shouted it out. You know, R.I.P. Kobe. Really sad. I mean, I didn't see that one coming. When I first saw it, I know it was TMZ, and I'm like, man, like lately TMZ is actually reporting news faster than ABC, NBC, New York Times, what have you. So when I saw it, I was like, man, there's a good chance this is not fake. Yeah, shout out Maria was actually the first person. She was like, is this fake? And I was like, oh, maybe they're talking about, you know, LeBron passing him on the all-time scorer record.
Because he did do that.
Yeah, because he just did that last night. But then she was like, nah, she sent it to me and was like, no, TMZ reported it. And when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, this is probably real. So definitely rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. You know, prayers to the family. And I'm not going to stay too long on it. But I think it was just some of the stuff around it already in the news stories is crazy. Like the fact that TMZ reported this before Vanessa Bryant, Kobe Bryant's wife, knew. She found out via the news today, guys. That's just, that's got to be horrible.
You know, fast, man. Things move fast.
Her and her daughter. And then also, R.I.P. to the other family. I feel like oftentimes whenever there is a tragedy, we always focus on the celebrity or the known name, but the reality is two families are suffering at this very moment, and we need to kind of have sympathy for both. I don't want the other family to get lost in the shuffle, which they probably will, because Kobe Bryant was just so big. But I feel like we would be doing ourselves a disjustice on this platform if we don't acknowledge the other family as well. So.
They said it was more than 5 people now, though.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. They're saying like 8 now, right?
Maybe 8 or 9 people.
On a helicopter? How big is a helicopter?
They're big. They can be big, you know, like.
Do you think maybe it was too heavy, similar to Aaliyah's situation?
That I don't know. I mean, I don't know anything about aeronautical science and stuff like that. I'm not learning in that area. But I mean, it just makes you wonder, though, you know. But the thing is, it's a common thing in New York and LA because of the traffic. People take, especially celebrities, folks with money, they use helicopters instead of taking a car around the city because it's just easier. You got to think Calabasas is about 45 minutes outside of LA. So if you're moving from Calabasas to the other side of town, you're trying to get there within or a certain time frame, it would be easier to take a helicopter and just fly in somewhere. You know, it's a common thing to do. Same thing for New York. If you got the money, you know, why take a plane when you can just take a helicopter? So, yeah, I mean, that's, you know, that's scary. And then, of course, I can't forget that, but then, you know, the Allison Morrison situation that just happened, like, within a few hours. She's reporting on the story, and, you know, we clearly hear her say the N-word, right? You know, ending in ER, not the term of endearment, GA, that, you know, some people of the culture say.
She's saying she said...
Nakers? Like in a mixture of the knickers.
Knickers and nakers together, or liquors together, so knickers. But I don't remember hearing an A. It's whatever. I know that she is a very popular correspondent for, is it MSNBC?
Got some angry faces down here about that.
I think it's MSNBC. So, neither here nor there. Good luck, Ellison girl. We'll see if you have a job tomorrow.
Yeah, I doubt she will. They try to get in front of that one fast and say she messed up, but yeah, I don't. Some more angry faces. Yeah, but I don't believe it. I think it's bull crap. I think, and this is my personal opinion. You know, this isn't founded. This hasn't been proven. I just think that people get comfortable saying certain things that are racially motivated, certain types of epitaphs in their personal conversation, and then when they get around in front of people, they don't know how to control their tongue, and then it flies off because it's what they always say. You know, it's been kind of my thought process on it, but we'll find out. But anyways, we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty quick, because we have a lot of ground to cover on this real estate conversation, and I want to give Ryan his just due. Ryan, I mean, we've been knowing each other now for a while. You know,
it's been a little bit.
Yeah, like, you know, we just talking about that. But, you know, you just recently went viral.
He sure did.
And it's crazy that, like,
no, we're sitting next to an upcoming celebrity, though.
It's crazy that you just went viral, and it's funny. One of my cousins had posted, because, you know, like I said, the story has been in, like, Black Enterprise. You've been in a number of publications.
For sure.
I think you said you got another shoot coming up.
Yep, got another magazine shoot coming up, so yeah.
Yeah, and it's I saw some of the clips on the Coalition Property Group page on Facebook, where you guys were, I think it was not Good Morning America, but one in the morning.
Yep.
I mean, you've been on a bunch of them.
9,
yeah, exactly, right? So, and it's crazy. So a cousin of mine posted it, and then my brother, he's on the page right now, Nate. He's actually looking to he's looking to purchase a home out there in Tennessee. So we'll make sure y'all connect, so y'all can get to the right people, right?
100%.
So yeah, like I got a cousin. He posted like, yeah, you know, 3 black guys in DC create this company selling over $100 million in real estate. Is that a current number or that's an old number? It's up since then.
Well, that's the number. That's the 2020 number actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So it's funny. We the way we started last year, we sold right at about 165 homes, which is that puts us in the 1% of the nation and realtors, right? So
oh wow.
Yeah, for sure.
So top sellers,
100%. And our goal is actually to double that this year. So that's what we're really focused on. Doubling that will get us a lot more than 100 million, but like, you know, 100 million is like a thing that people really are drawn to. It's a big number, right? Like,
it's a very 9 figures.
So, but yeah, it's a lot of real estate. We're in. The great thing is we get to help a lot of people, man, and it's a fulfilling career. And as my pastor says, it's a noble profession. So
Yeah, no, it's dope. I mean, you ever put a lot of people in homes. I know some people personally that you sold to and everything. So, I mean, obviously you're doing your thing. And I mean, I guess the exposure is good for business, you know. So
it helps, man. It helps. And so yeah, you know, the exposure's been great. People have been showing a lot of love, really receptive to like our missions, our visions, our values. And I think, you know, along with selling homes, I think people are attached to, or they're like connected to our approach to it, and that's really the key. So our mission is to be the bridge to our community for all things real estate, lifestyle, and wealth building.
I love that.
And so that is something that we ourselves, as the owners of the business, really cling to, and that's what we live day to day by, right? Like, that's how our business is being built.
Well, now let me ask you this: how many people who you sold a home to came to you via word of mouth through a referral? I'm just curious.
Oh, probably like 90%.
Look at that. That's dope.
90%, yeah, for sure. The friends, family, you know, we're community based, so all of our stuff is within the community, and you know, we do some other different types of things, right, within it, because it is a business, right? So like, you go and you approach the business and how can I grow my business, right? But 90% of our people come because, along with, like I said, real estate, lifestyle, wealth building. So we help them with the real estate. With the lifestyle, we throw the dopest parties in the DMV by any realtor ever, right?
Nice.
Like for instance, our Christmas party, we rented out Smith Common, so we had the whole
I
restaurant.
know
Smith Common is nice.
For sure. Last year we rented out the rooftop at LaVie. So like people like the experiences that we provide for our clients and our friends and our family, and that makes them think about us when it's time. It's like, man, these are cool people, and then they get the work done, right? So why wouldn't I recommend them to people that I care about too?
Yeah.
What are some common, you say communities, so specifically talking about, I guess, people of color. I'm assuming that must be your main demographic. What are some common misnomers you debunk when people come to you about buying a home? I'm just curious.
For sure. Probably some of the biggest ones is that example that you think you need 20% down to buy a home.
Okay.
And that's just false.
Okay.
I mean, it's relevant in some cases, but even then you don't need to put 20% down. Like every like location actually has like a max number between just what a conventional loan looks like and the amount you have to put down. But in the DMV, right around that 420 to 440, $440,000, you only put 3% down. So I mean, like that's 12 grand, right? And I'm not saying that's no money, but
that's
just
to come by then.
For sure. And then
you get a good tax return.
Just like, and then that's before you tap into the first time home buyer programs. That's just what a conventional loan is these days, right? So a conventional loan, you 3 to 5% down, right? And then you say, okay, great, I need help with those 3 to 5%. That's where these other programs can come in and assist you with those 3 to 5%.
Jason, what's good? Jason out there in Indianapolis, he's also a good friend of mine. He's also looking to purchase another home. He already has a home, but he's looking to purchase another one.
That's where the money's made. That's where the wealth's built.
I'm just curious. You keep saying that new homeowner or new home buyer programs. What exactly is, I guess, the big mojo there? Do you get more benefit for being a new homeowner versus an old homeowner? I'm just curious.
Well, if you own a home, then, because when people say first time home buyer programs, there's a little bit of cloudiness around that,
Okay.
right? And so when you're buying a home, there is the loan part of it, like how much like the bank will give you to get the home,
Okay.
right? But then there's like, most people have issues with the down payment, right?
Okay.
Like, where's the cash coming from? Like, I got a good job, but it's expensive in DC. I'm trying to save up, but to save up 20% is going to take a while. To save up 5% is going to take a while. Okay, great. No problem. We have programs that'll help you with that piece that you need to save, and we'll roll that into either like a forgivable loan or a grant of some sort, right? So that's one of the issues that people have when they're buying home, is that they think like, where's this money going to come from?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can have you got people in the DMV making 6 figures pretty regularly, right?
Yeah. Common number.
That's a common number. 6-figure people. And that's a real thing, right?
Yeah.
But then you add in student loans.
Listen, talk about it, Ryan.
It's a thing.
And then now you
Let
pretty much
folks know.
no different from those like in Missouri, making 45 and 60.
100%.
So we're talking about first time home buying, and I think for some people, and we kind of talked about this a little bit. We actually have people coming from that group soon. We went to a Dave Ramsey thing with Anthony O'Neill. So
I know where you're going. Yes, because I was going to go there too.
So there's one half of the argument, the Dave Ramsey thought process of you might as well rent until you have your bills paid down. Why would you take on the debt? Although they consider it's like they won't say it's good debt, but they might say it's a healthy debt. It's like it's the kind of debt that you can live with buying a home, right?
And that's the only kind.
Yeah. So then there's the question of when you're buying a home, like what's the benefit, and then honestly, what could be the cons of buying a home? Depending on your finances. When you start talking about like for instance, living in our apartment, and I think it's a nice apartment, but we have some work orders to put in for stuff here, and it's not something that I have to pay out of pocket. But of course, there's benefits to buying a home. So, you've been in the business for over 10 years now?
Man, I bought my first home when I was like 24. So yeah, I guess right at 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I would say, so what do you think are some of the key benefits of buying a home versus renting? Because you'll have some that say, well, you're just throwing the money away. Why not buy? So, you know, this gives us fair answers on both sides of that argument. Right?
Well, one assumption you shouldn't make is that buying any home is like having a great investment. It's just like anything else. You have to be discerning. You have to be thoughtful about your finances to the home you're buying. If you look at it as an investment, like just because you buy stock doesn't mean you bought a good investment, right?
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
means you bought a stock.
I like that.
I love this answer so far.
Bryant, what's good, IG?
So yeah, man, that's the approach I take. Where you have to be discerning with that and make sure that you can afford the home you're buying. The biggest benefit to buying a home, in my personal opinion, and this is something that's not talked about much. The biggest benefit is that you buy a home now. When you retire and after you paid it off, with that 15, 20, 30-year mortgage, you don't have a cost for housing anymore. Right? When you get old, you're going to be able to work like you work right now. You work 40, 50, 60 hours a week. Right? You out there, you got the energy, you got the drive, you got the heart. At some point, you can't do that. Right? And like, what are the two biggest expenses you have when you're older? It's going to be healthcare and where you live. Right? So why not cut some of those expenses down and like alleviate some of the problems you have getting older? And, you got a lot of people depending on their kids, depending on their family and friends because they got to pay medical bills, they got to pay a place to stay. There's all these different things, but man, if you can cut out the place to stay, that's usually the number one expense. When you're younger, when you get older, medical gets higher than that. But when you're younger, like it's where you live.
So you know, if you can start buying a house when you're 30, paying it off, and then by the time you're 60, you alleviated that bill. I see where you're coming from. A comment from Jason was that he felt that buying a home was investing into himself, and I think that's kind of like, I guess you're basically hinting at that, which is, you know, especially if I guess you're able to buy early enough, you know, if you're thinking forward. You know, hey, you know, 30-year fix is the normal standard now, right? 30-year fix, you figure you're buying now, maybe you don't refinance, or you know, maybe you could be minimal in how you go about those loans. By the time you're 65 or so, maybe you didn't pay your house off.
Well, let me ask this though, because we were the Dave Ramsey thing. So Anthony O'Neill, who is also a part of a Dave Ramsey consultant, he was saying that if you are 55 and older, he feels like it's best for you to maybe downsize, get a condo, sell your home, or you know, get some kind of living assistance, because at that point, if you're living in a 3 to 4 bedroom home and you have all that upstairs, downstairs on your knees, all this work to be done, it doesn't make sense for an older person to live in such a big home. You being in real estate, would you agree with that kind of notion, or would you advise maybe that they rent out a few rooms? I mean, I don't know. Like, what do you think? Because on one end, you're saying you pay off the house so that you can live comfortably at that age, but then there's the other argument of that's too much house. Maybe you should get something smaller. So I'm just curious to hear your take on it.
Well, that's the assumption that you bought a really big house, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is that I agree with him to that point, but just because that's nature, like. You know, you got grandmas and great grandmas trying to walk up the 20 flights of stairs to get to their bedroom. Not 20 flights, like 20 steps to get to their bedroom. That's still a lot of steps, right? And so what you'll see is that people will start to downsize. But my point is still the same in the sense of you actually have the option to downsize because you bought the home.
That's what you're
saying. If you didn't have the home, you didn't have the option to buy. So now you got the option, right? And if you want to sell it, and then now you got all this equity, like I could just buy this condo cash, right? I still got no problems. I'm living good. So you're still in the same kind of boat.
Yeah, got it. And that makes sense. And for those that's just joining, we have Ryan Butler, co-owner of Coalition Property Group. If you guys are not aware, Coalition Property Group has gone viral over the last few months. I want to keep on saying that. Like, that's a big thing. He's so modest. Every time I say it, he looks down and like, come on, woman. Don't put me out there.
That's crazy.
Sean, what's good, girl?
Hey,
but
Sean.
yeah, like, you know, so if you have questions about purchasing a home, you're looking at maybe selling a home, maybe you just want to get into real estate, you want to understand, well, what is smart investing? You kind of touched on the idea of just because you bought a home, not every home is a good investment.
100%.
So, and we'll get down more into like maybe some key things to look at as to maybe some markers of what's a good investment, right? Some keys to that. So if you're just joining us, feel free to ask questions. You have any questions about real estate, home buying, I know you still in the DMV, but Coalition Property Group is nationwide.
Yeah, man,
so,
we're connected. So the beautiful thing about what we are, so Coalition Properties Group is a real estate sales team, and we are powered by Keller Williams, which is a real estate brokerage. So we're partners in that regard. Because of that relationship with Keller Williams, we're connected to the top agents literally across the world. So I'm going to Colombia next week, right? I'm going to stop into Keller Williams in Colombia to build those relationships there. So for anyone who's interested, at some point in time, it might not never happen, but it might happen that someone's like, I need to buy someplace in Colombia. I love that place. It's like, don't worry, we got you covered. We know the best people there already.
Dope.
So it's just a way to keep people connected and making sure that these relationships that we've built, you're able to leverage us, right? Like the strength of our team to find out whoever the best is across the world. So that's a great advantage you can have.
Now let me ask this for young people, like I would say ages 24 to maybe like 38. Whether you're single, newly engaged, newly married, what is the ideal type of home that you would suggest in this area, considering space is limited? Would you suggest people look at a condo, a townhome, or a single family home that's older? What are the pros and cons to an older home versus a newer home? I'm just curious that people in my age group can kind of get that information.
So this is probably not the route you wanted to take this, but you should buy the home you can afford, right? And I know that sounds like kind of simple on it, right?
I like that answer.
But here's the thing. In the DMV area, people buy homes basically every between 3 and 7 years, right? So if you keep that in mind, like this condo that you buy today, like you're not going to buy your forever home.
Right.
So you buy this condo today, and then you can keep it, flip it, whatever you want to do for your next one in 3, 5, 7 years. And just keep upgrading until you get where you need to be, right? It's just like some people do that with cars, right? They get this car, they make a little bit more money, they bring it back in, they put a little extra, they get a bigger car, they get a nicer car. You can do the same kind of thing where you can take these equity that you've been building over years and just move it to the next one, or just keep the house. And now, if you bought a home every 3 years in 10 years period, you have like 3 to 4 homes. Right, and now you're talking about wealth building. You're talking about real wealth building.
Talk about that monopoly money.
That's real monopoly. But the thing is, you can't do that until you get in the game.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
pass it over like $200. Right.
Yeah.
Like,
can't get your first property.
I like that.
Yeah.
So it's getting that first home, and if is there like an algorithm, or is there like a way, a percentage? I know Susie Orman has mentioned, whenever you buy a house, be able to afford that plus another 6% of whatever that is, because that should take care of your basic housing bills and allowances, so you won't feel a house poor as far as like what it takes to keep the lights on, keeps the water running, considering the fact that there's probably a cable bill involved, because when you're in your house, how do you entertain yourself? So her golden number is 60%. Do you feel that's accurate? Do you feel like what do you think people should consider when buying home, as far as when you say what can you afford, how do you figure out what's affordable?
That's a good question.
For sure. So the approach I always take it, and when we're working with our lender partners, so you have to go to a loan officer and see how much they're willing to give you, right? And then we always talk about it in 2 ways. One is how much you're willing to give. Like, I can buy a house for this much, and then what we need to do is look at that monthly payment, because that's what it boils down to.
Okay.
A lot of people say, well, the house was $1 million, or the house was $500,000, the house was $200,000. That matters, but that's more of a secondary like importance to the monthly payment. Like, you want to know, like, if you're in an apartment right now, right, and then this costs $2,000 a month. Well, there's probably a good chance you're okay with a $2,000 a month payment. Would that be fair? So we know that, like, that's we can look and say, hey, look, you've been paying this amount, you might be comfortable with this amount right here. There's no, like, when it comes to a percentage saying, like, rule of thumb, I don't have one, because we look at each client, like, for their own situation. Right? Because, for example, right, like, if you're buying using this recent program we were talking about, Smart Buy, right? If your student loans are $500, right, and then your current apartment or place you're staying is like $2,000, right? Now if Smart Buy paid off your loan, technically you could probably do a little bit more than the $2,000 and still feel good, right? And so I'm not saying do that or don't do that. I'm just saying, like, we just have to look at those are things to consider. We need to look at when we're kind of going about this.
I kind of want to stay here for 1 second. So when you're talking about things to consider, let's say for instance, I look at a home, I can afford it, but we never talked about how much it would cost for landscaping. We never talked about how much it would cost if plumbing were to be an issue or electricity, and now I realize that the home actually is costing me more than I anticipated. How would you advise people to kind of broach those conversations so that way they can truly be prepared before making their final decision with a home? I mean, obviously there's only so much you can know focusing on that amount, but would you say to someone, you know, since you never bought a home, maybe you should consider something with like less land? Certain cities, aren't they requiring you to keep your land up to par? I don't know how it is here, but at least in Cleveland, like, you have to have your trash in a certain, you know, way. You have to mow your lawn, like, otherwise you get fined. So I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean, you better buy a lawnmower, get that landscape going. So yeah, I mean, those are things we talk about, and you know, so we're really specific to where we are in DMV, and we know this area really well. So we know that, like, how many people have an acre of land? Not that many people have an acre of land, right? Like, most people buying homes are usually buying either condos or townhomes first. So, like, some things about the exterior kind of work, I don't hear that as much. I mean, like, we have those conversations, say, once we get down this route, like, these are things you need to take in consideration. We also try to protect them. So along with us, it's like, there's the skill of real estate, right? And then there's the relationships that we have. And so we have a list of, like, basically like our little black book list of contractors, handyman, people who do all these different work for you, right? That we say, like, these are the best, and they're vetted by us, right? And no one, that list gets vetted every month because it's only merit based, meaning if they're not doing a good job, they gotta go because you're not gonna make us look bad, right? So, like, the integrity of the list is strong. So those are one of the things we provide to our clients.
That's dope.
So that they can say, look, when I have these problems, here's where I need to go.
And Jason made a comment off our Facebook audience. He said definitely research a home warranty.
100%. So that's one of, like, we have those people on there where we say, like, you know, I'm not going to necessarily put out anybody's names or anything like that, but, like, home warranty companies where we believe that what they provide to protect you, because what a home warranty does, right, it's kind of like car insurance. You got to pay it every month, right? And then, or even going to the doctor, medical insurance, you got to pay it every month, right? And then if you go to the doctor, you got to pay that copay, right? But what should happen if it's something's really, really bad that they cover, then they cover it. And that's how home warranty works. And that's what I call, like, the internal of the body, the guts of the house. So it can be like the appliances, like washer, dryer, dishwasher, you know, refrigerator, right? Like, something going wrong with them. It can also be the major systems in the house, like
Pipes,
exactly, electricity, heating and air conditioning, right, and some other things. So they have a list like, this is what it covers for this price. This is what it covers for this price. So you can kind of figure out what you want covered in the house. Yeah,
because I know those things get expensive. I remember, and then living in Tennessee, it gets hot down there, right? And I remember my parents. I remember one summer just dropping, like, it seemed like every other week they was dropping all this money for the heating and air, the AC, you know. So I know, like, you know, going into buying a home, it's no joke because if you do just run into that, you know, state where it's just like, just the house is getting older and you're paying for things, it's like, you know, yeah, you know, it gets expensive.
For sure. And the good thing about, like, the insurance, like the monthly cost, you can usually get something like under $1,000 a year. So somewhere between like $300 and $1,000 a year. You have to pay it every year, but, like, that's not too bad to make sure in case your washer goes out or in case your hot water heater goes out, that stuff's covered.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah. So when you're looking at, I guess, size of home, I know, like, you know, when they talk about real estate, the first thing I would say is, you know, location, right? So if you're talking about the DMV area, I would say, you know, right here, Hyattsville is kind of up and coming. You know, hot area to buy. You know, what they're, you know, projecting as far as, like, you know, the stats of the area. You have the Woodridge area out there in DC, just outside DC. It's a hot area. And then, but every city has this going on. It's like that up and coming area. How do you measure that? Is there a way that you can say, hey, you know, this house is worth more money in the zip code because schools and all those things that apartments are high buying, or is there like is there a way you could research like development and all of that to try to align maybe what your house is projected to make extra in equity? Yeah. Is there a way to find that when you're looking to buy a home? Considering you said that most people buy every 3 to 7 years anyway, right? Is there a way to find that? Is there a way to kind of like strategize for that?
Yeah. So I'll break this down into 2 parts. Like the first part is when people are looking for homes, they're looking for their personal needs first. So you can look for the hot development, like in trying for the increase of the home value and those types of things. But like more than likely, like if they got kids, they're like, how close are we to the school? How close are we to my job? Like those are like the first things people are looking at, right? Like the necessities of buying a home, right? Do I have enough bedrooms? So we start there, and then after that, you're like, okay, where can I find what I need in which location? Right? Because you can say I want to live in downtown DC, but they don't have 4 bedrooms there, and you got 3 kids. So where are you gonna live for your price point down there? You can't, right? So we kind of start with that first, and now we're trying to find like where we can put that on location wise, right? And so when it comes to location wise, a lot of that is a little bit of outside development. The baseline is looking at what other homes have sold in the neighborhood, how long it took to sell those homes, right? Like how long were they on the market? Were there any price reductions? So we kind of understand like what the neighborhood is talking right now. At the same time, there's stats that we can pull. They give you like month over month, year over year increase in, number of homes on the market, right? The increase in home value, like some neighborhoods are like 10% increase year over year, right? Like that's important to know that the neighborhood had that much. Like from last year, it cost one price, and then this year it costs 10% more. Like that's important to understand. Like like have an intrinsic value about what this location is paying for you.
No, we had Herman from Facebook said that he's suggesting have a good emergency fund in the bank. He said it will help you. Trust me, I know personally. Yeah. So and that's true. An emergency 100%. Fund. Is there like I don't know if there's a magic number or there's like an algorithm that you can say people should save for, just because when you do take on a home,
Well, I'm Dave Ramsey style on that, right? Like, have $1,000 or a couple $1,000s for your emergency fund, right? And that's just like if anything goes wrong, I gotta take my car here, I gotta do that, right? And then the second part of that is like having 3 to 6 months of your living expenses. That's not the same as your emergency fund. That's a little bit different, right? Your living expenses, what it take it. If you look and you counted all the money that you spent in a month, and it's random number, $5,000, right? Well, you should have $15,000 worth of money to have like in your bank account, right? Like, and I'm not saying like you just have that stops you from buying a house. It doesn't. Like that's really up to you, personal decisions, right? Like, but you should be working towards that goal. You can have more than one goal, right? So you should be working towards multiple goals.
Yeah, I like that.
Out of curiosity for you, I've heard that a lot of wealth building is you can get there through investment, and I know a lot of friends who don't necessarily look like me. I've noticed in listening to them that they have a lot of property and homes in their family where they're able to pass it down through generational wealth. I don't know everybody's situation, but I guess I don't want to say easy, but I think that many of us feel like it's expensive and we can't do it. What type of, I guess, motivation, I know you talked about the benefits before, but what kind of motivation could you possibly give people to, I guess, open their mind and realize that this is a good way to potentially build generational wealth from the home ownership aspect?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's kind of got a different thing. I think if you can look at counterparts and you look and say, my family did the best they could, right? We haven't had a long runway to be as great as we want to be yet, and then some families have. Right. And so, from a motivational standpoint, everybody's motivated by different things. If you're motivated by generational wealth, you got to start the game as soon as you can, because that's the whole thing. Like, wealth is built over time. It's not built instantly. So if you want to build wealth, that's a 10, 20, 30 year game. You got to start playing. Like you can't wait 10, 20, 30 years and be like, let me start planning. I got my life together, right? Let me go to church. Like you can't do that.
But that's how people operate, though. They always wait. You know, I gotta make sure I have this and that. So
yeah, but they're also operating in this. I'm pretty straight shooter. They're operating out of ignorance sometimes because they don't know, right? And so if you haven't talked to someone who is an expert at this, and you're making assumptions that I need to do these things, like you're making assumptions, right? So you actually don't know what you really need. So a lot of us are like, we move through life making assumptions about things, and we just don't know. We haven't talked to anybody about it. I'll say honestly, women are the best because they go to, like, brown women go to professionals and they get help. Like from personally for therapists, like, you know, you talk about black men don't go to therapy, to professionally they go to financial planners, they go to accountants, they do all these different things. A lot of brown men don't move that well in that way, to be honest with you. So like our number one client is like black female, like number one by far, because they're always looking for the professionals to help them make, like, consult them on their decisions.
I like that. A question I had, because I'm kind of curious, like how it plays into that. You're talking about like getting help. So how important? Because I know a lot of people are watching this. Some may not want to buy homes, or like, oh, I need to get my credit better. Or maybe their credit is always good enough. And you know, like how much does a low 600 credit score? How much is that really different to waiting until you have a 750 credit score, right? Is it worth the wait? You know, what's the benefit? So how important is credit? Because that's always a big thing around home buying.
For sure.
And some people get hung up on that, and they don't realize, like, well, you know, technically you don't need that much to do this in this space. So
for sure. And one of the things with credit is that people don't understand how it works in real estate. Real estate credit is different than like personal credit. So like the way that they pull it, it's just they measure it differently, right? So one of the big things to keep in mind is that they basically take the middle score of your three major credit scores. So if you got a 600, a 650, and a 700, well, that's probably bad because that average is the same. But like you say, you got a 500, a 800, and like a 650, right? They're gonna take the 650. Like that's literally what they take. You can have a 620, a 680, and like a 7 and a 690. They're gonna take the 680. They take the middle score.
Okay.
So that's what lenders do.
Oh, I see.
You follow me? Okay.
Do you have to have credit? Like, what if I have a low credit score but I have a lot of cash?
Then you can buy it cash then.
Okay, I was just wondering, like, would they deny me? Because I know I'm ignorant. But it seems like in our country, people like to know the credit route versus they're like, cash. Where you get all that cash from? So I'm just curious.
Yeah, for sure. I would say because like if you do have cash, or you can totally buy a house cash. That's like nothing wrong with that, and people do it. And so as far as like the credit route and what they're doing, your lender is usually the first place I go, right? Like, so a lender, you go to them because they got to pull your credit, and because they're giving you money, they know what they want to see to be able to give you money. That makes sense? So I usually say go to the lender first. Let's just talk to them because they're going to be able to really help you out. Okay. The next thing is if it's a little bit deeper or longer, maybe we need to go to a credit specialist. Now I know a lot of people, you got a lot of credit specialists these days, a lot of experts in credit. So you just want to be careful and cognizant of who you're speaking with and understanding their experience.
Now, does Coalition Property Group, do you guys have credit specialists and lenders that you can recommend to your people looking to buy a home?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the thing about it, we've gotten this thing down pretty much to a science, and we know that when we use certain people, like our ability to get people into homes, into what they want. Like for example, we had one of our agents. She won out of multiple offer situations with one of the first-time home buyer kind of national programs called NACA, Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America, and that is rare.
Okay.
And that's because we had a strong team and our communication was at a really high level. Where normally, like, you'll have people that can't get their offer accepted on these types of programs for a really long time. So you got the right people in your program. Even things like in DC, you know, this is all kind of local, like HPAP or DC Open Doors, like getting offers accepted by home sellers when you are using these first time home buyer programs, you got to have a little bit extra sauce with it. So that's the thing.
Oh wow.
I have a quick question.
I might have a quick answer.
So, back in the day, redlining was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that still a thing nowadays? And if it is, how are we getting?
That is interesting. I mean, especially because I know you probably just the comfort level of having someone that looks like them. So when they go to you, probably do get a lot of people, or maybe more varying customers maybe than someone else may have. Do you see that? How do you fight against that? And if it is a thing, where is it coming from directly? More or less.
That's interesting because I think, and this is not like I don't have any numbers on this or anything, right? Mm-hmm. This is just a feeling of me being in the market every day. It's that a lot of things that like traditionally marginalized people went through, we don't feel it as much in the DMV. We just don't.
I've heard that before. DMV is different.
DMV has a much different.
Kind of in a bubble, in a sense.
For
right?
sure. But then you have people, I have colleagues, we have different little chat groups and stuff, and we hear about it in other places. Most recently, I think I heard about it in like Texas or something like that, right? So like I'm not personally I don't feel it on a day to day because our people, for the most part, they're getting what they need to get, and they're being where they want to be as long as they have the funds to do it.
So you're just to add, so you're saying that if I had the money to go and live in Bethesda, it wouldn't really be a big problem as long as, because here you're saying maybe money talks more so than it is.
Yeah, money and just your representation, meaning like people want to, if you're, so money talks first, all right, and then like they want to know that, because it's only a picture, like when you're putting an offer in, it's a picture of you, right, but they don't really know if that really works. So having a relationship, having an agent, having someone that they know and communicates with and really understand they have a strong team, it's more believable that you can make this sale happen. Because the worst thing that can happen to sellers, they accept your offer and then you find out you don't have the money, right? So nobody wants to go through that, right? So they just want to make sure that you have what you say you have.
Yeah.
And I think that's why agency is so important. We see that also in the law, right?
Yep.
I know dealing with the law, you can know everything you need to know. You can know what needs to be proven, you know how the judge thinks. But it's like that person will not hear you until you have a lawyer, an officer of the law, that can also reiterate that point for you.
That's the thing.
And real estate works the same way with agency. I went through a real estate course. And one of the first things you learn about agency is that, it's there so that way that person can represent the buyer or the seller. And I think a lot of people don't know that. People assume you don't need an agent, and I think this might be pertinent information for our crowd. They'll go to a new lot, right? They don't have an agent with them. They're like, I don't need an agent with me to go to an open house because it's already open, right? I can just walk up there myself. So you see like a stream of row houses being built, or a stream of condos, or just a big development, a bunch of single family homes.
Yep.
And you just walk up there and you're like, oh, I don't need an agent because I talked to the real estate agent that was there representing this.
The seller.
But they represent the seller.
Yep.
So when they write up the contract, everything they do for paperwork, their first person they need to take care of when purchasing that place is the person selling it.
100%.
And a lot of people don't think that they need representation or agency as a buyer, but you still want somebody there with you when buying that home from this new property development with all these beautiful homes and single families and all that.
Yeah, and I can't speak across the nation or whatever, but at least around here, here's the thing. Like, you go there, right? It doesn't hurt you to have a realtor because you're not paying for them. And a lot of people are like, I can negotiate on my own, right? And it's like, that's not how that works, right? Like, if you come to that agent, it's a good chance they're going to take you for a ride, to be honest with you. New construction has a little less pain on it in that regards, but there are things about new construction you should have someone there for you, for real. As far as like, even like, making sure someone knows what kind of finishes you're picking, so you're not overbuilding this home if you need to sell it later, or having the right type of inspector in there, because they're like, oh, we have our own inspectors. It's like, no, they don't have their own inspectors. They have someone that walks you through the home to tell you what it is, but they don't have someone coming and check and make sure the electrical outlet works, or making sure that this beam actually, that beam is broken. You need a new one. Like, are you gonna see that because you're an expert in construction now? or do you need someone who's an expert in construction there, right?
Nice.
So like there's these different pieces along the way that you need an expert for. And you know, it's like, what? I don't need, it's like, you're not paying for him. Just go ahead and use the realtor or him or her, right? To make sure you got somebody on your side.
We talked a lot about home buying. I know we're getting late on time here. So what are the first few steps if I am a homeowner and I want to sell? What would I do? How would I come to you? How would I start the process?
For sure. Well, you can hit me directly at Ryan at coalitionproperties.com, coalitionpg.com. And the real thing you want to understand is you need to know why you're selling. And I know that sounds simple, right? But like, let's actually have a conversation. Why do you need to sell this home? I need to know why you're selling this home so I can help you best, so I can market it best, right? You need to know, do you have any expectations on how much money you need to get from the home? Because some people are selling homes are like, if I get this amount, I'll go ahead and sell this home. If I can't get this amount, it doesn't make sense for me to sell this home, right? So we need to be able to understand like how much this home is worth in its current condition, right? And then what do you owe, and see what that difference is. That makes sense? One of the other things what I think is really interesting that we do is that we actually partner with, this is one of our little sauces that we add to it. We partner with construction companies that can do work on your home, and they won't charge you, or you won't have to pay them until the home sells.
Right. I didn't even know that
Wow.
thing existed.
Shoot,
So
if
I
my
guess they
parents
just want like a
watch
percentage
this,
of the sale.
No, it's just their cost.
Whatever the cost is, but it comes out of the.
And it comes out of the sale, and then they get paid, and you get the rest of it.
Now, is that kind of contingent on the opportunity they may see with the sale?
Yes.
If they would do that, okay.
For sure. Well, you can't be like, you got to be able to
Can't be
make
like upside
money.
down on the loan,
Exactly. So doing the work, there should be profit for you left over, because they're not going to take it if it's the case. But I mean, the fact that most of the times, like for example, you inherited a home from your grandmother in DC, right? And all of a sudden, man, I would love to put 150 grand into this home or 200 grand into this home. No, you can't, right? And then you can sell it and make more money. I'll give you a quick example. I had a client who inherited a home from her father, and she was middle-aged as well. And it was just a condo, not just a condo, but like it wasn't like a big old house or anything, right? It's 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom condo. If she would have sold that home without the renovation, she would have sold it for about low 300.
a condo?
Yeah, condo, like 300,000, like 350, 340, right? We put about 45 grand into the home, right? And then she sold it for like it was like 450-ish, right around there. So she made an extra 50K that she wouldn't have made, like net, an extra 50K net that she wouldn't have made selling it the other way, if that makes sense. So it's like, you didn't pay for that, you just need a little extra time, right? You didn't pay for it, and then you made 50K. Like, hey, look, if the numbers make sense, you should really consider it.
If you're just joining us, we've been having a wonderful conversation about real estate here with Ryan Butler of Coalition Property Group. And if you have any questions about real estate, we still have about 5 minutes or so left. If you got a quick question, you can jump in there, because maybe you didn't hear it earlier by chance. But great wealth of knowledge. Can you tell people again where they can find you in case they have questions?
Yeah, you can find us at just find us on IG. Honestly, that's the best way to reach out to us. And that's at Coalition Properties.
Yeah. And I mean, like, your IG is lit right now too. I mean, like, I was looking through some of y'all social media over the week, and I mean, y'all have fun though.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
blast,
we talking about the parties and stuff that you guys do.
He makes me motivated. Like, can I be out here talking about this stuff just because Dana, what's her last name? She's into investing. I can't think. She's big on IG. Her and her husband. I can't remember her name, but anyway. They're always talking about like how you need to buy a home and you need to invest, and so you're talking. I didn't even know that construction, was a thing with homes. I didn't even know that I only had to put down 3%. So all of these little nuggets are making me feel like I can do it, versus the fear that I had before, where it's like I'm not in the best place financially.
Sure.
And then Juan's always talking. He's always saying it's crazy how our generation always feels like we have to be where our parents are, but they didn't get there. It took them like 30 years to get there, and I think that sometimes we need to just like take a step back and realize the baby steps. You can't crawl before you can walk, or you can't walk before you can crawl. So
yeah, because I throw this comment out a lot, but it's kind of piggybacking on what Katrina was talking about, and you probably see this all the time. So I guess expectation management is big, because especially our generation in the time we live in, living in an area of social media where everybody is, kind of like capping for the gram. Everybody want to be lit on their Facebook.
Yeah. I got a rooftop home.
All marriages are beautiful.
1 million in DC.
All kids are angels. That kind of situation. Yeah. And folks are trying to accumulate their parents' wealth that took them 30 years to build.
Sure.
And I think you bring up a good point. A lot of people are not buying their forever home up front. You're buying, the home you need right now, and then. That dream home may only be good for 20 years, but it may be unrealistic, given whatever health complications or whatever that you may experience. Who knows? Life, as we've learned today, life is not guaranteed in any facet. You can't buy or fame your way from life happening, right? So I think it's important that you have like expectation management, and I think it's okay just to kind of start small. Like, I think something important that you said to our listeners today is that, in order to compete in the game or to do anything within it, you got to start at some point.
Yeah.
And that might be a condo for somebody.
For sure.
It might be a small ranch-sized home, somewhere.
What's up, EA Sports? Get in the game. Like,
that's
really, that's really what it is, man. Just get it in the game.
Yeah, I like that. So I think that this is it's still New Year. A lot of people are still high off those New Year resolutions. If yours was buying a home, getting a home, take some of the information given here today from Ryan and, EA Sports style, get in the game.
Quick thing, when is the best season to buy a home, or no such thing?
That's a good question. Is there a proper time in the, not so much a proper time, but is there a golden time in the year to be like, hey, this is the time to buy?
I don't think so. I think it's when you're ready, to be honest with you. And there was even an article out like last week about how January is the new spring. Right, and so everybody's, because we got a lot of people out looking right now. Like right now we have 10 properties listed. We have 25 pending contracts. So that means they've already put in the offers, been accepted. They're just waiting to close on a home. There's a lot of people looking to buy homes, looking to sell homes right now. So it's just about getting in the game. Buy a home when you're ready.
Okay.
Right, that's really what it boils down to. I don't care if that's December 25th or April 3rd. It doesn't matter. Buy a home when you're ready to buy a home.
Got it. I like that. And I know watching here, funny, my dad said all my kids are angels. That means me. So Kat, if I ever feel like I'm not an angel to you, just remember my dad said I'm an angel.
He's an angel.
And he said my grandkids too. He's just laughing. So just joking a little bit. But I'm gonna use that to my advantage over time. I'm an angel. But we have a lot of military watching. So VA loans. We were talking about this earlier. A lot of people assume, oh, well, let me get my credit to an upper 700 because I want to get the best rate.
For sure.
But you was kind of breaking down some information.
Yeah, there's a law of diminishing returns, right? And that's whether you're just buying VA loans or non-VA loans. But the beautiful thing about the VA loans, up to a certain amount, right? VA loan is the best loan in the country. Nothing gets better than that. So thank you all the people who have, provided military service for the country. You guys are great, and you deserve this loan, and you should totally take advantage of it because there's no down payment. And then if you got the right people on your side, you can negotiate closing costs and those types of things. And then you get basically the best interest rate that one can get without having to pay down points or add extra or something like that. It's all in the VA loan, man. For
all
sure.
in the VA loan.
And is that a 30-year fix right now?
Well, the interest you have options on the types of loans you get.
Oh, nice.
For sure. Yeah, it doesn't have to just be a 30-year fixed loan.
Got it.
Yeah, it would make sense for you. And the other cool thing is you can have more than one home on a VA loan. I know a lot of people don't realize that. They think you can only have one VA loan, but you can actually have more than one. So
now does that still have to
fit some restrictions to it? But
okay.
Yeah.
So does it still fit under this total number of what they would loan you out? I know.
For sure.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Keep me honest. I think the number in the DC area, DC's a little special, guys. I want to say it's 650,000.
It's up there, man.
In the DC DMV area, right?
That's wild.
May not be as much in Tennessee, Kentucky, Texas.
It's different in different places.
Kansas, wherever you are.
But what that tells me is that this is a good area for veterans.
Yeah, I mean, they
Well, because
pretty
you
well.
can make the money. You got a lot of people are trying to hire veterans, so yeah.
Some comments.
Oh yeah, we got a bunch of comments. Herman said, "Yes, sir. VA
Too
all
legit to
day."
quit.
I agree with Ryan. VA loan is great. Raviel said, "Yeah, VA loans too legit to quit." So yeah, all of them veterans. So yeah, and once again, thank you guys for your service.
For sure.
So yeah, so VA loans. So if any of you were like maybe holding back from purchasing a home because of VA, you know, and if you have more questions to maybe work through, definitely please hit up Ryan. We're pretty much like towards the end of time, but you know, if you just tell everybody again where they can find you, because I'm looking to reach out and get the information.
For sure, you can find us on Facebook, Coalition Properties Group. We have the Facebook page. You can find us on IG at Coalition Properties. Slide in the DMs, hit us on the message. It doesn't matter. We're very active on there. You can connect. You can see what we're talking about. Again, I always like to bring back, you know, said it earlier in the beginning of the show, but you know, our mission is to be the bridge to our community for all things real estate, lifestyle, and wealth building. And we truly, truly, truly believe in that. Every week we say it to each other. Every week we talk about the gratitude that we have for being in a position to help the people in need and help the people who are just trying to be better in their lives. So.
Yep, and there are some really dope programs in this area, and he knows all about them, especially if you have student loans. So something to think about. If you have student loans, you still want to buy a home, hit up Ryan. He'll get you together about the programs available.
40 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can't beat that. So yeah, definitely. You guys make sure y'all hit them up. Find out more about the information if you need it. Before we leave today, I guess, you know, we give our shout outs and stuff. Really, number one, as you guys all know, I mean, we've been having this great conversation about real estate and everything with Ryan. But you know, Kobe Bryant passed away today. Tragic helicopter crash. His daughter Gianna, 13 years old, with him, and there's still speculation of how many more went with him. But we do know that it's suspected that maybe some other members of that basketball team and their parents might have been with him. So you know, of course the pilot. So you know, definitely, you know, keep a peripheral thought for that family. And then, you know, when you're thinking about them, think about your own. You know, if there's somebody you're beefing with for no reason, if there's a relationship you just, maybe there's a parent you haven't called like you needed to, or a brother you haven't reached out to, let's start taking life a little bit more precious. It's a shame that we have to be reminded in times of tragedy to be a little bit more grateful for the ones close to us. But let's not wait till it's too late to get that right. All right. Also, a fun fact today. Shout out the fact that, and I'm happy to be a part of this. This is our 50th episode doing TNGS Live.
Oh wow!
Yeah, today's our 50th episode. So I mean, of course, in our total book of episodes, we have way more than that, right? But we started doing TNGS Live ever since we wanted to be more financially independent of, you know, working with another studio, things of that nature, being able to control the totality of what we talk about, you know, put the money back into us. And so we've been doing TNGS Live now, 50 episodes, having this great interactive and we couldn't have done this without you guys who tune in. Some of you guys are not always here active, right? My mom said call your mother. Some of you are not always here like active live on the show, but sometimes a lot of you repost, a lot of you watch after the fact. Many of our shows can get up to 1,000 or so views because you guys do watch after the fact. Keep on sharing, keep on reposting, because this is big and this platform kind of works the best for the Nitty Gritty Show, and we really enjoy it. And don't forget, you can catch us on YouTube, IG, and all those places. Y'all know I always leave y'all with a cold jam, a little something dope to step to. Step two, yeah, for all those that know what that is, you know, a little shout out to Timberland. Thank you guys all for the congratulations. This right here is yours off the Safe Travels album by Gwen Bunn. It's a dope track to me. I like it. I be trying to teach Kat how to step to this joint and everything like that, you know. Because I swear I can dance, y'all. Like, y'all just don't know.
I swear, I'm like,
I got that Diddy flow, you know what I'm saying? So, look, I'm going to lead out on this, but look, it's your boy Jay DeCosta.
It's your girl Kat.
And together we are the Nitty Gritty. Ryan, thanks again for being on, bro.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much for the love.
I do like this song.
Dope track, yeah. Gwen Bunn, dope. You know, I like playing them artists that everybody don't know about. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a dope little track. So look, man, we thank y'all for being here. It's a Nitty Gritty Show. We out. Facebook, we out. IG, holla.